In this fast-paced world of business, time is currency and insights are invaluable. Now picture a world where your Salesforce data comes alive, empowering your workflows with actionable insights and limitless innovation. Hey everyone, my name is Tom Jones and I work as a senior solutions engineer at Appsmith. Today, I'm thrilled to guide you through the exciting journey of integrating Salesforce with Appsmith. And together, we'll explore how this powerful combination can transform the way you interact with your data and build dynamic applications. Now, as developers, we are always on the lookout for inventive ways to streamline processes and unlock the full potential of a tech stack. Meet Appsmith, driving innovation, and Salesforce, the cornerstone of all CRMs. Together, they merge the simplicity of low-code development with Salesforce's robust data ecosystem. So, fasten your seatbelt and together, let's redefine the boundaries of enterprise application. Now, our agenda for today's demo is structured to give you guys an understanding of the following steps. Step 1. How to create a connected app on Salesforce to allow you to integrate Salesforce with any external web application or tools. Step 2. How to integrate the same Salesforce as a data source in Appsmith. Step 3. How to connect the data source to the widgets using API and data bindings. And finally, Step 4. How to create an application where you can not only view and update data to Salesforce, but also create dashboards on top of the data with the help of charts and showcase different other metrics. Now let's get started. I'm going to head over to the Salesforce website of mine. And as you can see, I have some opportunities already up and about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top right corner and click on this icon and head to the setup page of Salesforce. Here on the left side, I have something called the platform tools, under which I have apps, and I'm going to click on the app manager. On clicking the app manager, you can see that here is where you can go ahead and click on a new connected app. I have already created an app called the Appsmith Salesforce, and it's of the type connected. When you click on a new connected app, it takes you to a page like this, where you need to fill in details like the connected app name, contact, email, etc. And then you need to enable something called the OAuth settings, because that's how we're going to be connecting Salesforce to our Appsmith app. Also, we have a callback URL field here. For now, I've given it the value as app.appsmith.com/this current path. This will, in your case, it will be replaced by the domain name of your Appsmith instance, but the remaining path name remains the same. Also, I'll show you later where you can copy this value from. Next, we have to select the OAuth scopes that is required for us to have a secure connection with Salesforce. So those are the OpenID, the API scope, and the refresh token and offline access scopes. Once that is added, as you can see here, you can go ahead and enable these two checkboxes. One is to enable the client credentials flow, and the other is to enable the authorization code and the credentials flow. This too is required because that's how Appsmith is going to be connecting to your Salesforce connected app. And finally, we need to enable the refresh token rotation because we need to allow the external app to be able to call the refresh token API whenever the previous or existing access token gets expired. Once all this is done, you can go ahead and click on save. After clicking save, you will see that you will be going to the view mode of your connected app, and here there's something called the manage consumer details. On clicking that, you will be taken to another page where you'll be shown the consumer key and the consumer secret. Note this down or keep it in the background because we would need it later to create our data source on Appsmith. Speaking of that, let's go to the second step, that is creating the data source on Appsmith. So here I'm heading to my Appsmith homepage where I have a workspace called Salesforce apps, under which I have an existing app called Salesforce. I'm just going to click on edit. Here on the left side, I'm going to click on data, and I have a dummy data source already created, but I haven't configured anything. I thought let's do that together. So I'm going to click on edit here. And as you can see, the URL is the same URL as your Salesforce domain, and the authentication type, we need to choose the OAuth 2.2. Once that is selected, you need to enable the grant type as authorization code because you have enabled for it, and the remaining looks good to go. And then we need to pass in the access token URL. I'll just copy paste that from the documentation. Similarly, the client ID, this value we had kept it here, and just copy that and paste here. Similarly, we have the client secret. I'm just copying this and pasting it here as well. And then we have the scopes which we had enabled or added earlier in the configuration. I'm just mentioning that as well. It's refresh underscore token, open ID, offline underscore access, and API. Next, we need to also mention the authorization URL, which again can be found on how to get that from our Salesforce documentations. And this is how the value would look like, both in the case of the access token and authorization URL. The path name remains the same, and only the domain is part of how your Salesforce domain looks like. Then you can see we have something called the redirect URL. This is where you would get that value where I had earlier copied, and that is the callback URL. So now you know where I had got that value earlier from, and you can always copy it from here. And finally, we have to mention the authorization expires in time, because this lets the app know when to trigger the refresh token API, assuming the access token has expired. So in my case, I'm going to be giving around 6,000 seconds. Okay, and I'm good to go with that. Yes, yeah. This is around 10 minutes. And I'm just going to click on save and authorize. And now the app is connecting with the Salesforce and verifying that my client key and client credentials was correct, and the remaining configuration was correct as well. And you can see it was successful. That's great. Okay, so now I'm going to head back to the editor and go to a new page. And here I'm going to be introducing a new query or an API on top of my Salesforce data source. I'm going to call this get opportunities. And let me just copy the API path name here. This is basically a SOQL or a Salesforce query, and it's going to retrieve my ID, account ID, name, etc. from the opportunity table. And I'm going to click on run to see if it's working. And yes, it has. So you can see all the records have been showing up here. Now I'll just go to the UI and introduce a table here and connect it to my get opportunities data. And as you can see, my data is appearing in a table format. Now I have some columns which have come up which I don't need to show to the end user. It's only for me in the development mode. So I'll just go here on the side and you can see the column list. I'm gonna go and hide this. And all you can see is the rest of the details like the name, stage name, owner, amount, etc. I'm also gonna do is introduce an icon button here and change it to make it look like a refresh button. And on click, I'm going to execute a query that is the get opportunities API which I just created. And now whenever I click on refresh, the API is triggered again and my table refreshes. Next, I'm going to go to another page. And here I have my table and the button already connected to the get opportunities API, but I also have two other APIs, that is the get accounts and the get users API. So what I'm going to do is, you can see that I have in the table account ID and owner ID. And what I want to do is change this to show the actual name and not just the ID. So the first thing I'm going to do is change this column name to owner name. And as you can see, it's live reflected. And now I'm going to go and search within my getusers.data.records to find for that particular object whose item ID is equal to this current row's owner ID and bring out the first name. And let's see if it works. I'm just going to run this API. And you can see the owner name and it has started showing instead of the owner ID. You can do the same for the account ID as well. Next, I'm going to head over to another page where I have a form already created and it has some input fields and select widgets which you can choose from, right? It's all connected to what the selected row is from this table. So if I change to another row, it's reflected here. So if I click on something like the Edge SLA, you can see the details here. Now, I've already pre-connected the update opportunity API. It's actually a patch operation, and you can also see that in the path name, the opportunity ID will be mentioned. You can refer it as opportunitystable.selectedrow.id. So now I'm going to head back to the UI, and I see some of the details like I'm just want to change some details like the amount. I'm going to make it like something like 200. And I'm going to update this. And as you can see, it's going to update because within the action selector, I have connected it to the update opportunity. And on the success, you can configure it to run the refresh API, or that's the get opportunities API again, so that you start seeing the new details. So now you can see that the Edge SLA is now reflecting to show 200,000. Great. So that's how you can connect your table to a form widget having input and select options, etc. And how you can connect your button to the update operation so that whenever you update, it gets reflected onto Salesforce. And when it is successful, you are running the get opportunities API to refresh your table. Next, I'm going to head over to the last page, that is the dashboard. Here, you can see that I have a tab widget, right, which shows two tabs. One is the sales overview and the other is the opportunity manager. Now inside the sales overview, I have created some widgets. So this way I've been able to create some metrics on top of my Salesforce data, along with showing some charts to reflect the same. So that's how you can create a dashboard that shows the overview of your Salesforce data on Appsmith using charts and other widgets, and also how you can do CRUD operations on top of your Salesforce data, like viewing and updating the opportunities. Now let's click on deploy. And voila, you have successfully created an app that's ready for your internal use or customers. Now expanding on what we have just created, let's uncover the other possibilities that arise for integrating Salesforce with your Appsmith app. First, we can visualize dependencies. Product managers in your organization can easily see feature dependencies that is crucial for winning certain deals or opportunities. Second, streamline access. Access Salesforce objects like tasks and activities of your sales people to view conversations for better insights. Efficient case management. Now you can also view and update account level Salesforce cases swiftly without needing to go to the Salesforce website, and this can help in improving customer service. Next, we can allow precise user control. What that means is that you can grant users, like your product or marketing teams, specific permissions to update relevant Salesforce objects such as opportunities, accounts, etc., offering unparalleled flexibility as compared to the traditional Salesforce rules. Next, I'm going to be talking about unified data view, which is basically allowing you to integrate various other data sources to create a comprehensive customer 360 view as I'm showing here. So here you can see I have some of my Salesforce opportunities, and you can see that I can see the usage summary, the license subscription, the account activity, and the support issues. So this way I can see a lot of data across various other platforms, including Salesforce and my in-house data within one single app, which I'm now calling it as my Customer 360 app. And the last advantage Salesforce integration brings to your organization is being cost effective. You can finally save on additional Salesforce seats by leveraging Appsmith for data viewing and updates, hence maximizing efficiency while minimizing the expenses. So as we conclude, remember that the possibilities are limitless with Appsmith. So as you continue your journey, embrace the power of integration, creativity, and efficiency. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, the future of your applications is brighter than ever with CRM platforms like Salesforce and a low-code tool that is Appsmith by your side. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.